All right, good morning. Good morning. What did I get here? Bros, okay. Got a profit target hit on Bros. Okay, yeah, Bros is continuing. Looking good. I took a look at the market here. Yesterday was a good day on the market. Essentially we broke out of that downward trend I was talking about, but not in a pivot point sense. So we're still waiting on that because we have 4 points to a downtrend in effect. 1, 2, 3, 4. And until we can break this one, then the downtrend is still in effect, pivot point wise. But once we do, then it's a sideways trend. And at that point, it would start here. One, have one. Sometimes when that happens, though, you get a lot of momentum. And then you re-break the top. And what that means is we're back in an uptrend because then you have 4 points to an uptrend. So it's very interesting. You see how all that can change, and this then becomes a pattern inside of a larger trend. And the 20th, which is when Trump takes office, is somewhere around here. So that might be something that actually happens. Because those are one of the trickier. It's kind of like a rewrite. It rewrites the current state of the trend by obliterating itself, and then it's essentially back on track with the old trend. And that's one of those instances where a trend, something that looks like it's nowhere near being back in trend, can completely get back on trend in less than a day. It's really remarkable. Like we had that 2 years ago on Tesla, where Tesla was in a spot where it looked like there was no signal coming for a while. And then just like that, one morning in one day, boom. And it's not even that it made a big move. It's just the way it formed, the way these candlesticks work and pivot points and everything. It put in a pre-signal and we got in, and it turned out to be one day before the bottom of the market during the bottom of the bear market. So we essentially caught the bottom of the bear market going long on things, getting a signal from Tesla one day before. Totally unexpected too, but just, the only way you could see that is if you were watching the market every day. Have your finger on the pulse. So anyway, today, that's a little bit of kind of what happened here on the market. Is yesterday's day, as doji as it was, up and down and sideways, it was actually up from the previous day, which was a strong buying day, green day, coming off this pivot. So we haven't broken pivot to reverse anything. We're still 4 points in a downtrend right now. But the last 2 days are very encouraging. And that doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. We could indeed go up today and then close down. And that would be a top pivot that didn't break the high, the pivot high, and we're still in 4 points at a downtrend. And then we could gap open lower the next day and have a very bad red day, which gaps us open the following week, and all of a sudden we're down here in 3 days. So I mean, like, the market can just like completely change in a couple of days sometimes. So you always got to be on your toes with that, and you never assume 100% anything that you think as a thesis is true and going to happen. Never. That doesn't mean you don't sit in the corner sucking your thumb. If there's a good probability on something, 70%, or even you only really need about a 30% probability to be profitable with trading strategies. But if there's a 50, 60, or 70% probability, it's like, oh, hell yeah, you're going to be betting on that. It doesn't mean you're going to be betting a lot of money. You don't change your size. But, you don't sit in the corner sucking your thumb. Good morning, Randy. So, with that said, we'll see how this day goes. The market is opening slightly higher than yesterday's lows. It looks like overnight it pretty much held through the whole night. But Bitcoin has pulled back off this push a little bit, and Bitcoin sometimes leads the markets. Just had a big sneeze. Muted the microphone in time. But yeah, so let's watch Bitcoin. Let's just take a look at that for a second. So the Bitcoin is in a similar spot. You see, you compare the formations. You don't look at them par and par candlestick wise. So we have the high occurred at the same time, came down, a low got put in at the same time, a lower high got put in at the same time, and then just slightly lower low got put in the same thing. In fact, it closed higher. So Bitcoin has a 50-50 kind of feel that we're in a downtrend. In other words, Bitcoin is kind of saying, if you're using the closes of every day, that we're not in a downtrend. And in fact, Bitcoin already has negated the downtrend yesterday. And it broke out there and put in a higher high. So now Bitcoin has put in the first leg of what we hope will become 4 points to an uptrend coming soon. And so Bitcoin is giving us some very interesting information, clues about the market, because it never really put in a high conviction lower low. So it means, and even the low that it did put in didn't break its prior pivot here. So Bitcoin is still in an uptrend, actually, interestingly enough. And this is all just pussyfooting around. When things are pussyfooting around like that, consolidating, you have to think of them as, what's the word in music? Well, they have but you have to think of it as, the real point here is, it's like a waiting period. It's like a dilly-dallying thing. When there's consolidation going on, it's almost always caused by some kind of rotation, whether it's out of one thing and into another. But they get compacted in ranges that we're no longer trending. We're waiting. I almost thought of the word. It's like delaying. It's delaying, pushing off, making a commitment in that moment during that time. It's like, just hang on. There's some more important. It's almost as if the market wants to make sure Trump doesn't get assassinated before he goes in or something. Like, is he really going to get in office? We'll see when he really gets in office. It's pretty remarkable, how the market is not even trusting the power of the election itself. Like, that's not enough. The market wants more convincing results. Like, it needs him to walk into the White House. And then once he's in there, I'm guessing that behavior will continue with the market. Once he's in, the market will be waiting for his policies that are economic and affect the economy to actually go into effect. And then I think the market is going to wait to see if it affected the bottom lines of companies. Are we going to get a burst in earnings? So this is going to be an interesting year. This is going to be a very interesting year in the market. And it's possible that it's going to take 2 earning seasons, so 6 months, to really cement any conviction one way or the other. Personally, my economic analysis, which looks at much bigger cycles than just like, let's wait for 2 ER reports back to back 6 months. I've studied the economic cycles, and although treasury rates staying high like they are is not the greatest sign. So that could be the only thing that really is tipping us off that things aren't absolutely perfect yet. Cyclically, like on a 5, 10, 15, 20-year cycle, this is a good economic moment for the next few years. That could be even as much as 10 or 12 years, maybe 7 or 8 of just bliss. But I do think that based on The Fourth Turning, a book by Neil, well, you can look it up, Fourth Turning, Neil, Neil, I forget his last name. He's an economist. We are sort of in the fourth turning, and that's the whole thing about how bad times create good people, and then 20 years later, those good people get into power, and then good people create good times, and then 20 years later, those good times create weak people, and then 20 years later, those weak people get into power, and then those weak people in power create bad times. So we have a little bit of that going on right now. We have a weak people moment. We're in the middle of the weak people moment and creating bad times. So it could be a long haul. And then this is just a temporary reprieve. Thank goodness. While we have, get 4 years out of Trump, hopefully. And then following that, we'll have to see which way it goes. But anyway, this year, 2025, knock on wood, save for a fake demic or anything like that, things should be happening. So you should not be shy, and you should be ready to pounce. I'm fully invested, plus on margin. And I'm in like 90 positions. Now maybe it's only 60. I don't know. I haven't counted it up lately, but I'm in a lot of positions, and I'm invested. I'm trading. I'm in positions. I'm allocated. So, don't let the bears talk you out of it. I'll let you know when we're in a bear market. We're not in a bear market. The easiest way to know you're in a bear market is if the market is below the 200 moving average. That's the red line on my chart. And as you can see, we double bottomed, came up and over that red moving average. You got out of that the 1.5 year bear market back in 2023, and we've actually been in a bull market for almost precisely the last 2 years. So we've had 2 years of bull market, and these are very normal periods here, like what we're experiencing now with this pullback, and we really want it. Where even at this time, you can see such a pullback lasted from June all the way to November. So that's what, 6 to 11, it's almost 6 months, let's call it a 6-month period of pullback, and that's still a bull market. So that could happen to us here, and we get something like this, and it isn't until May, June, 6 months from now to where we finally break out. But the fact that we're above the 200 moving average makes a PCS system perfectly viable, because PCS works even while we're waiting and pulling back and going sideways. So long as we're in a bull market, PCS system is there for you. This was a rather deep pullback. I think that had to do with the yen risk, and we had the US debates. I've got that marked up there compared to this one, which was much nicer, more friendly. What we're going through now, so far, it feels like friendly. We're in a friendly pullback, maybe a total of, let's see, we're at 540 at the peak, and 7%. It feels like a 7% pullback might be in order. Let's measure this one here. Actually, I don't need that tool. From the peak here to the bottom there was a 9.5% pullback. So for us, that would be it's exactly where I drew the end of my line here, this line. So I figure that could be where we're headed at worst. Worst case scenario is where this red line meets up with that white line. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario is, today we nearly break out to new highs, and by the end of the week we're at new highs. But I think probably we're waiting until Trump gets into office. That's just too much uncertainty for the market to bear. So I think we will probably do some more chopping and testing and pole positioning when things are perking up. Like, let's say it does something like this and it breaks a little bit, and then we're up kind of like right there, right at the precipice of breaking out. I call that pole positioning, just from race car driving. So like that comes from cars that are getting up in front. Everybody's getting ready. Engines are roaring, and we're ready to go, and just waiting for that green light for that event to start. So, I have a lot of different ways I'm able to interpret what's going on. Over the 25 years, I've learned a lot of different ways that the market moves, waits, dies, panics, has jubilation, pops, grows, appreciates, depreciates. I mean, I've seen so many of it, so much of it, so many times, and you can learn that in a hyper accelerated way by just pull up 30, 40, 50 years of the S&P 500, and then just look at everything. They literally study it candlestick day by day. Just look how everything moved, and then what transpired, and how it respected the 200 or the 50 moving averages. And was it in a pivot point downtrend, or was it a tender pullback, or was it a sharp correction? And when we have Black Fridays and panic moments in history, how quickly do we recover? And believe it or not, it's usually fast. We recover fast. That's always surprising to me. You have this terrible moment on the market, and it doesn't cause a bear market. So the interesting thing is, like, the economy causes a bear market, but panics don't. They just set things into a worrisome state for a short period of time, which is almost always never more than a month, and is in many cases just momentary, the day of. and the next day is a little bit careful, and then boom, we're back on track. So, don't underestimate a bull economy. It creates a bull market, and we're right in the middle of, AI, a very efficient way, very cheap. When I say efficient, I mean cheap, a very cheap way to create some of the greatest value, return, revenues that we've ever seen, just like the invention of the computer. So AI and quantum computing, and you want to stay on top of those. Like, here's Qubit. I'm up 130% in that. I was up 260% right here. I'm still in this, and way up on it. The quantum computing. There's lots of quantum computing stocks, but I tend to love the ones that look really, really good. That's not always the right decision, by the way. You look at the fundamentals, and there's always a guy out there that's like getting in the shittier looking stock because he said, oh, well, I visited their facility and I did the research. I checked the fundamentals. This is the company. I mean, and then there's 999 other of those guys where they pick something and it doesn't go. So, I have to follow the charts. I have to trade what I see. I can't be hoping and guessing and making great estimates fundamentally, because price is what changes your return. And yes, price changes because of fundamentals and fundamentals changing, but you can see the price. So, I like being able to see something good, not just sort of hope and know and think and cross your fingers something's good. So I picked this one, Qubit, and there's one other one. I think it's QBTS maybe. Yeah, D-Wave Quantum. I'm also in this one. And I think there's others that I'm in I don't even realize because I just get in shit that looks excellent and it's leading the market, and those leaders typically are the ones that are in leading sectors. So I don't know. I'm in these other ones like WGS. Who knows what it does? Oh, Gene DX Holdings. I'm in this Voot 6 Corporation. I have no idea what they do. Zero. I just follow the charts. What that says here: electronics, electronic equipment and instruments, smart glasses, and augmented reality. So that's pretty stupid. See, I'm better off just not reading that shit because then I have an opinion, and opinions are not charts. And I like to trade what I see, not what I hear or think. So, I go where the charts take me. All right. With that said, we got the market opening in 7 minutes. Good morning. Procrastinating? No. Is that what I was trying to think of? Let's see. In music, more musicals, they call it vamping. Oh, I got it. It's elongating. I believe that's the word I was looking for. Elongating. Oh no, I got it. Dragging out. That's what it is. It's just trying to drag it out. It's trying to what is that called when you're trying to drag out a decision on something? It's not procrastinating because you want to make the best decision, but you're dragging it out for as long as you can. I don't know. That's the word I'm looking for. Whatever is the answer to that. Whatever I just said. I just can't remember the word for it. There is a perfect word for it. But yeah, all right. So we have 6 minutes till the market opens. I'm in a lot of good names here. Crowd. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the things coming up on this trading view. I did not like how CrowdStrike had this huge correction from 370 to 200. That was huge, almost a 50% correction in its price, and now it's slowly come back up. Remember, the trend is in the direction of the way the elevator moves. So elevator down, stairs up. So that means the elevator could go down again, so we'll keep watching it. It can bounce and then break out to new highs, and do some interesting stuff, but I like other charts a lot better. I'm in this one, Gigal, and that chart looks pretty damn good, save for this one day right there. But it bounced off the 200, so it's definitely in a bullish trend, and that's just a gorgeous uptrend that got formed out of what was a long dormancy, I guess, and it broke out with a cup and handle type action, VCP tightening, and then was in an uptrend there, and you can measure that and go like, this is pretty good, and then it started to come back into an uptrend again starting on this day, which was a very green and strong day. You can see that candlestick very tall. Finally broke out to new highs here after doing a cup and handle VCP right side tightening. That's a fast right side reclaim too. So Gigal, these things, they have a lot of the signatures that I love. And Gigal is my third biggest position, or as well, it's a 4E. So I've entered it 4 times and added on, and I've stacked it 4 times. IonQ is my other 4E position. And Reddit. Look at those charts. It's like, but I couldn't predict that. I'm in 80 other stocks, just at smaller sizes. I haven't been stacking them because they haven't gone my way. Like, let's look at one of the worst ones that I'm holding. Let's see. Maybe, do I have this right? SE? Yeah, and that's the worst one. This is one of the worst ones I'm in, and it's only pulled back about 50%. There's been others that are worse. They just got stopped out. Prolonging, extending. Yeah, extending is a good way. Prolonging. Yeah, those are. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT for a second. Maybe the word will show up. What are some other words for prolonging, extending, vamping? What was the word I said? Extending, consolidating, delaying. Lengthening, continuing, sustaining, perpetuating, elongating, drawing out. Yeah, that's really close. Dragging out, stretching out, stalling. That's the word I was looking for. Stalling. That's what we have going on the market. I do believe that's the word I was looking for. Let me look at the rest just to make sure. Freewheeling, extemporizing, spinning out, making do, postponing, deferring, stalling, hindering, hesitating, temporizing, putting off, rescheduling, lingering, holding off. Yeah, I do believe it was stalling is what I was trying to get at. So, when you recognize that, you go, this market is stalling. It's waiting. It's waiting for something. Why? And then you have to think, okay, what could it be waiting for? And then you have to find a significant event coming. And it's got to be Trump taking the White House. What's the date today? Today is the 6th. Okay, so we have 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of stalling, essentially. That's the perfect word, stalling. We have 2 weeks of just the market just bullshitting and chopping around and playing with your emotions and trying to stall until the day comes. And even when the day comes, like I said before, I think that probably it will continue to act cautiously. All right, we got 60 seconds till the market opens. Logi, GFI, let's see. Logi's up, GFI. All right. I just saw some tickers come across my TikTok feed, so I was just checking them out. I don't necessarily like those. Am I in ARM? No, okay. But ARM is interesting, and I think it's ARM processing. It's machine language processing units, very fast, RISC processing. I think so. But anyway, it's not the greatest chart. I'm in Geo. Rocket Lab was doing well yesterday. Now, I said to get into Rocket Lab on August 16th, which was, I think, right here, yeah, at $6.50. It's now $29 3 months later. So 29 divided by 650, that's 350% return on that alert. All right, market's open. Let's see where things start going. Let's see what we got here. TVTX with an alert. Yeah. Hit that alert a couple times. I'm going to have to move that alert up to just below 20. And essentially the reason why I'm even interested in this is it's a stock that did 70% in 18 days. There might even be a bigger move here. Let's see. 100% in 26 days. So we talk about, holy grails are stocks that have moved up more than 100% or more in less than 30 days. And then they've pulled back no worse than 40%, but tighter is even better. And this one actually stayed pretty tight. Its pullback was only 17%. That's excellent. So this is a high tight flag holy grail stock, TVTX. So that's why I have an alert on it. And it is a shitty biotech company or whatever, but pay attention to where the holy grails you gotta pay attention to. Like a car stalling, it wants to go, but it just can't muster the energy needed. I mean, yeah, that's what stalling means, but I'm not sure. Yeah, let's see if that analogy holds. Let's see. It wants to go, but it just can't muster the energy needed. Okay, so now, yeah, that's not the greatest analogy because investors, hedge funds, institutions can muster the energy. They're choosing not to. They're choosing to wait. It's like dubious, it's intentional. It's willful. They're not incapable. All right, Qubit going sideways. What do I got? Anything going really good today? Not really anything. And that tells you, because I have my fingers in the leading stocks. And what I'm seeing today is they're not moving too much. And I probably have about 30% of them on the downside too, pulling back, whatever it is. So I think today is going to be a mixed day. It's going to be a doji day. It might even be a red day. Let's go take a look at the market, how it's forming already. Yeah, so far red. And I think, we could trap some bears, flush that out, and then it's going to, market might pull back. So very much one of the things that I said this morning, which was that maybe we get up here, and then we pull back on the day, and then tomorrow we gap down and put in a red day. I mean, this market can about face in an instant. Let's go look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's pulling back down after putting in that pivot high. You could almost count that we're in an uptrend. Probably very few people could see this, but if you count just to the closes, then this was a higher low. If you just go by the closes, then we're actually 4 points in an uptrend on Bitcoin and crypto. And that's been leading the markets, crypto. So it's a possibility there. So the market is open. We're 5 minutes almost into the open of the market. Oh, let's see. I got Palantir on another red day on Palantir. It's getting close to getting to my stop now. That's not pretty. Well, for Palantir, I mean, because I was in love with it. I mean, I have a 3E position on it. It is my largest position, but not because I love it. Just because that's mechanically that's how it grew. And I have high hopes for it. So anyway, right off the open, it looks like it could get to where tomorrow it might trigger my stop. But possibly before the end of the day, the market actually does a scooping up. You never know. How the market acts in the last hour or two, or even 30 minutes or 15 minutes, usually, matches the market sentiment, bull or bear. ALGS, somebody just said. Yeah, I mean, that thing's just been going straight up. Unrelenting. But the variance has been there. Like if you got in on the top side, you could get sucked back down you could be down for a week and a half moving forward. That's why you always got to have stops to buffer your timing, because you could be mistiming your entry. Works really great with PCS, as you know, Randy. Put credit spreads. Let's see. Lemonade at the top of my pilots. Okay, it's still way pulled back. Net. The Cloudflare. Yeah. The Cloudflare looking pretty good. I mean, compare that to the market, right? With in the same period. So relative strength wise, net is looking even stronger than Bitcoin. I'm really glad to be in it, and I think I might increase my position and set my stop to 106. Let's do that. Okay. Net. Average price of 108. I'm going to increase my stop to 107. Could be. That's really tight. Yeah, 107. And right now it's 117. I've got some at 108. I want to put on $100 of risk. Let me buy 6 more shares here. Let's see what happens. If I grab 6 more shares to my average price, just doing like rough math. Okay, 113.84, and I got 10 shares with a stop at 107. Would mean 3.848 minus 107 times 10 shares. That would be a loss of $68, and I want enough. I want to be able to lose $100. I want to risk $100 on my pilot positions or any positions that I'm adding on to. I want a free roll, ideally, but that's okay. All right, grabbing some more. It is difficult to grab, and that's a good sign. When you can't get filled and you have to chase, there we go. That's a good sign. Okay, 114.44. So let's see. $12 shares, $89 of risk. Maybe I could get one more share and have 13. So I'm just cowboying it. I'm not doing a ton of math. I could, but yeah. Okay, 114.67, 13 shares. $99.73. I just cowboyed that, so Just goes to show you don't have to, none of this has to be all perfect. Okay, now I'm going to set up my my new exits and push this stop up as well to what I said, 107. I think that is fairly well pinned down now. Double bottom, consolidation area. It's got worst of times, 107. My new average is 114.67. And remember, yesterday I was teaching you guys about how your average is actually better than that because we take profits along the way, and those profits pay down your cost average. Okay, but I don't need to want to calculate that on this. It works itself. It's baked into the system to work that way. So you're always sitting on profits. You're always growing on profits. So anyway, there we go. And now I got to set up my 2-to-1. Exiting for 6. I'll take 6 exits. And let's see where that puts us 2-to-1 wise. Using this tool in TradingView helps us do the math just cowboy style manually. Once I get a 2-to-1 set up, okay, right there, 2-to-1 is like 130. And we're currently at 118. So we're talking about 30, 10, 12. And I'm going to sell 6 shares. So that divides. So that means I'm going to sell 1 share every $2, underneath every $2. And we're at 118. So I'm going to put the first one underneath 120. So 119.99. I already have one here. Why is it at 134? Why is it so high? Okay, well, that can be at 118. 120, I was saying. Let's pull this one down. Let's get these set up a little bit better. $119.75, perfect. Let's get GTC EXT set up. The next one will be underneath 122, so 121 something. 121.75, fine. I'm going to get 6 exits all the way up to 130-ish here. Set up my first 2, underneath 124, underneath 126, underneath 128, and that is 5 exits, and then underneath 130. So absolutely perfectly put those, and then I need a stop of 7 shares, the other half of this 13 share position at 107, whatever that price was. Yeah, 107. So typing in 7, changing to GTC, putting that stop. Get a little more accurate on that one. To 106.76. Yeah. So what I did there was I add 25 cents, 20 cents, 10, 20 cents, 25 cents, some kind of a little bit of padding against when it should hit your stop, but you don't want it to just be a blip and then it recovers. Your stop is supposed to be a support area, and things are likely to be bought up in that area. And if it breaks that area, then yes, it's bad news. But when they break, they can blip. There can be some smear to it. So, but it is what it is. If a position is struggling to do well, and it's like testing your stop and all that kind of stuff, there's better stuff out there. All right, what else we have here? So I added on net. So what I got to do now is I got to move that into my 2E positions. Net is all fixed up. Move to amass 2E. There we go. So that's how a pilot position becomes a 2E position. I mean, it starts as a pilot. What else I got going, good or bad here? Nothing too bad. Palantir, just because of its sheer size, is dragging my day down a little bit. But everything else is doing just fine. LX pulling back. Yeah. Almost looks like time to let it go. I'm in a profit on it of 54% from my first entry. No, I'm going to let it keep doing its thing. Because, I got in over here. I've taken lots of profits on it. There's my stop. So this is my break even. It had a nice appreciative period, but now it's consolidating. And today, for the first time, it's breaking down. It's breaking the low. But we've got the 50 here. And, the possibility of it doing something like this. And so I'll wait it out. We'll see what it's like. All right, you guys. Oh, I forgot to grab my coffee. That's why I was yawning and feel a little bit tired. I'm going to cut the stream a little bit early right now because I'm going to grab some breakfast and coffee. And I think this market is kind of sideways today. It's a little bit of a stalling, dilly-dally market. Let's take a look at projections of volume, although it still could be quite early for that. IonQ, I just got an exit on IonQ. Yeah, it's still too early. I mean, it says it's going to be a massive volume day, but that's just too early. It's calculating and projecting that out incorrectly because we just don't have enough data yet. But IonQ, what happened there? Nice. Look at IonQ flying. It's almost all the way to the top of my 2-to-1. Way to go, IonQ. And IonQ is a 4E position. It's not even that large of a position, but it's 4E nonetheless. And I love those because they just keep snowballing and stacking. My real break even is down here at 19 because I've bought it down through profiting. But my cost average on my purchase prices is up here at 37. But I've made enough profit to where it's as if it's at 20. And it's at 54. So, I mean, this is doing really good. All right. Thanks to you too, you guys. Have a good day. See you back in the group and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.